Hello, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be going through briefly the tournament policy that is just updated. Lots of changes, two big ones, and I thought about recording this yesterday, but I thought I'd rather give myself time to just think through this so that I would have a more informed insight into my thoughts about what I think about this. So we're going to go through this together. In the short, if you guys haven't known, there's two big changes. One is to do with time rules and one's to do with the structure of the game. We're going to go through it and kind of have a discussion and really see, is it as bad as everyone thinks it is? And spoiler, I don't think it is. So, starting off, we have three kind of things. The first one is we have a change in time. So basically we're going from 45 to 50 minutes for pretty much every event. Worlds is their own different thing, but for tier 1, 2, and 3. So we're talking about locals, we're talking about like regionals, OTSs, and then YCSs as well. This is good. The amount of times you lose and you're like, damn, if I have one more minute, I win. Now you have 5. So good start. I think this is really, really good. And this will make more sense as well when we get to like the new end of match procedures and all that type of stuff. So this hasn't really changed much. So I'm not going to go too much over this. The big one is tier 3 and tier 4 events. This is huge. So there are a few big things. So what has changed? First of all, don't worry too much about this. Top cut is now top 8. There is no top 32, there's no top 16 or 64 for YCSs. All Oshis or Euros or NAWCQs, they're all top 8. This is the controversial one that I think a lot of people have kind of not been liking. I think this is fine. And I think it's fine, and we'll get into why I think it's fine very shortly. Because I think that this is, I don't think it's as bad as people think. We'll get into it shortly. There is no time limit for top cut. Thank goodness. This is amazing. This is really, really good. No more losing in time in top cut. I think this is great. It means your games in top cut are going to be amazing. This will be really good for viewership as well. 3 additional rounds have been added. This is to make up for the fact that we no longer have top 32. However, this is actually an additional round now. We have more rounds in the event than we initially did. And if we come to the chart here, this is the new chart to do with participants and how many rounds we have in events. You'll actually see we have additional rounds. So I'm going to go off of YCS Sydney. So this is the bracket here. We had about 900 players this year. So we had 10 rounds. Now we have 13. And then it goes into top 8. So I played 15 matches when I played this year because I got to the finals. And that was 10 rounds of Swiss plus top 32, 16, 8, and 4. And then, of course, the finals is the 5th one. Now it's 13 rounds into top 8, top 4 finals. That's 16 rounds in total, right? So there's actually one extra round in order to win. Is this a good thing? Or is it a bad thing? I think it's a good thing. The better players are the players who are the most consistent. So more rounds isn't necessarily a bad thing. But there's actually another reason why there's more rounds, and that Konami actually mentions it before. We'll get over it. This is good. The 3 additional rounds also basically means that X2 is almost always guaranteed to get into top cut. There are a few that will bubble, but that's like basically everything Swiss related ever. Like you're doing a Swiss event, you have to acknowledge that's always going to be a thing. So if we look here, if we look at 900 duelists like we had for the event before, so actually we can actually look at 896 players. That's how much we have. 13 rounds, top 8. So if we have a look here, only 2 players miss. This is not too bad. And keeping in mind, and as you'll see here, actually I'll even go to it. So this is what they're explaining about it. The main thing is here. Pricing distribution for top finishes remains the same, even if you finish outside of top 8. So your pricing for top 32 and top 16 do not change. You're still going to get the Vec Veiler, you're still going to get the Card Trooper. So, what does this mean? This means that now we are at X2. Only 2 people miss out on top 8. So yes, they miss out on going further, but they still get the Effect Veiler and they still get the Card Trooper. They're getting like close to 1,500 US or something around there worth of prizing. Minimum, without including packs and other stuff. That's not bad. You're telling me I can go like X3, because some X3s get, a lot of X3s get in there. You're telling me I can go X3, lose like the first 3 rounds of the event and potentially still make top 32 or top 16? Like, that never happened before. That's amazing. That's really good. That basically incentivizes you to continue playing. This is more games of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is what we love. What are we going to an event if not to play the game as well, right? Like, play the game. Playing more of the game is never a bad thing. right? Like, I want more chances to do well. It means that the variance isn't as bad. And if we have a look here, it's what they're doing to balance it out. They're adding additional rounds, right? If and they literally mention it, even if you lose in the earliest Swiss rounds, you will have additional rounds to recover. They're literally saying we understand variance, so we're gonna make it a bit better, right? It's literally like it's like almost easier now because you like, sure, it's a little bit harder to win, but the winners should be the best players, so that isn't a bad thing, I don't think at all. But it's a little bit easier to top. And before people are like, oh, topping is only top 8 now, don't be stingy. Top 32 is still fine. If a prize card is top 32, top 32 is topping. That's all, like, that is just fact. Alright? It doesn't matter if this changes what knockout is. We're not saying, oh, I got into the knockout bracket. No one says that. They said, I topped. I got top 32. That's what people say. That doesn't change. So, this idea of, like, that changing is stupid. And if someone downgrades you because you got top 32 and you didn't officially top because it wasn't top 8, they're just a bozo. They probably didn't even get top cut in their life. Just don't listen to them. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are so stingy when it comes to this kind of stuff. Just don't listen to them, right? It's still an amazing achievement. You're still getting that prizing. That's all that matters, right? And quite literally, the prizing is what we're looking for more so anyways, right? So don't feel disheartened. This is important. I'm going to talk about why I think that the fact there is still bubbling isn't completely terrible. It sucks if you're the person bubbling. Trust me. I bubbled 33 in top 32 of states this year. It does suck, but there is a few things to mention about this, particularly with the end of match procedures, which we'll get into now. And also, this is not like there are plenty of rounds where everyone will get in as well. Like, if we have a look at the top one, if we go to, let's say it's 2,100 players, we have 15 rounds, top 8. Look how many players finish. Everyone who goes X3 makes top 8. So, they will be bubbling for some, but for the majority, if you're X2, you're safe. So keep that in mind, because it's three players, 3 additional rounds, right? So they actually do make up for it. I think this is really good. Personally, I think this is really good. This is a really good change. I think it's going to make it more rewarding for doing well, but also you're not out of the race even if you have a rough start. Or if you go X2 and then you like have a great run and then you lose another one later on. Like, yes, you don't get to top 8, but you're still going to get top the YCS, which I think is the really good thing. So I think this is really good. The only thing this kind of like makes it trickier for is like Worlds, because technically if you're X3 you don't qualify for like top cut of Worlds, but I mean you never were anyways, right? In the past. So it does make the Worlds race a little bit trickier, but again, the Worlds race should be the hardest event, right? Like, doesn't that just make sense? So I still think that's like, yeah, I think it's really good. The one which I'm a little bit less favored in is the end of match procedure stuff. So we'll get into this. Basically, first of all, draws are no longer a thing. This is amazing. Particularly intentional draws. This is actually just amazing. I love this. So many times people miss out because of draws. One of my friends missed out on top 8 of a regional because of a draw literally last week. So this is good. I'm glad they got rid of this. So, the big thing. If a match is not finished, then it will be a double loss. This is important. Basically, if no one has won 2 games by the end of the match, both players lose. So, this is why the bubbling is sort of important. If you are that player that's like, I will take you down with me, you are a bozo. You are literally making your resistance worse for 0 reason. If you know you're losing, no matter what happens, just give them the win. You are going to lose. Let them have the win, because if there was 0 time, you were probably losing anyways. Make your resistance better. If you both get a loss, both your resistance are stuffed. And what happens if you're both undefeated, right? You both now get the loss. Now you're both X1. Whereas before, you could have been X1, they could have been undefeated. What happens if they got undefeated for the rest of the event? Your resistance is crazy now. Whereas beforehand, it wouldn't have been as strong. That's the difference between being the player that makes it and doesn't make it in Top Cut. So like, there isn't really an incentive to take your opponent down with you. Particularly in the higher events, right? So I think for that reason, I think we don't need to be too scared about it, because I think that's what a lot of people said. The main thing that sucks is like, you know, people don't scoop and that, like, it does suck when you're 1 game up and you're like, you basically lose because of it. But it doesn't happen that often. It only happened twice at the World Championships, or like once or twice at the Worlds, out of like a lot of matches. Again, check out Jesse's video. I think he went more in detail with that. Yeah, I think this is a little cringe. I personally think what they should have done is made it that whoever is a game up wins. So let's say you one game up, you stop there, whoever's the game up wins. If both players have the same game score, then both players lose. That's what it should have been. But, you know, I guess we can't have everything. And maybe they change it to that. I really hope so. But also keep in mind, none of this applies for Top Cut because there's no time. So that's also really good. So yeah. The main thing is like because of the additional rounds, it's kind of like annoying if you like lose some to like double match losses, particularly in the later rounds. But yeah, like if you know your opponent's never gonna top, and yeah, it's like one would hope that players are smart enough, but really what this just means is you should be a hawk and basically make sure your opponent's playing fast. If your opponent is taking too long to make moves, call them out on it. Some players will crack under pressure, and you might even just win because they misplay. But also like they should be playing fast, and I know judges are going to be a lot more aware, like looking for slow playing, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the more controversial one. Basically, you need to have 2 games to win. I don't think we're going to get too much in time, particularly now that we have extra time in the round, which is a good thing, but we'll see what happens. I'm intrigued to see how this goes. In all honesty, I personally think that for the majority, these changes are good. All of them, including the time stuff, as annoying as it is, I think for the most part, it isn't as bad as people think it is. I think a lot of people have overreacted, and I think that we just need to like think about it a little bit more. Take our time. It's not as bad. It's different, but different doesn't always mean bad. There is an annoying part. There is mainly the fact that people can take you down with it is probably the worst part about it, and I hope Konami addresses it. That is bad, but also think about what has been removed. Now draws are gone. No more draws causing bubbles, because a lot of people who bubbled because of draws. That doesn't exist anymore, right? Intentional draws don't exist anymore. It's a completely different dynamic, and I think we need to take it like that. We now have higher chances of topping a YCS, which is great and makes it more incentive because you're more likely to make your money back, which means your travel's covered a bit better. So this is really good for competitive players. Generally, I think this more so hurts the casual player base. Correct me if I'm wrong. And actually, I'd be very intrigued to hear, you know, opinions in the comments about what the casual players think of this. The competitive players, I think this is a good step in the right direction. The casual players, I think this is a little bit trickier. This also really sucks if you haven't learned your deck and you're learning your deck on the fly in a tournament because you're basically can't. Your opponent's going to call you out. So this incentivizes players to really know their deck before going into an event. Which is understandable for the higher events, but for like OTSs and locals and even regionals to a certain degree, it's a little like, you know. But I guess OTSs and locals, not locals, OTSs and regionals, like you are trying to get your invite, so it does kind of make sense. Anyway, so yeah, this is interesting. This is really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I think there's a lot of good things and there's a few interesting choices. Generally, overall though, I think this is a positive change, not a negative change. And I think we just need to sit back and think about this more a little and just take our time to kind of dissect through what we're looking at. And I'm not gonna lie, I also was like really annoyed when I saw it for the start. But when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? It's not as bad as what people think. And a lot of other pros have also kind of been thinking about this as well. So I definitely suggest to check out Jesse Cotton's video. He goes through this also really well. If you haven't already seen it, a lot of what he says I agree with as well. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below what your thoughts are. This is just my opinion. This is like the competitive opinion. But I want to hear what your opinions are for those who are casual and of like different areas. You know, like what do you guys think about this? Do you like it? Do you not like it? You know, in the end of the day, this affects everyone. This doesn't just affect the competitive players. So, you know, and it needs to make sure it tailors for everyone, even though I think a lot of competitive players kind of narrow-mindedly think, oh, it's all about them. Not all competitive players though, but I do know some probably do. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be making sure to upload more, and I thought I'd get on this action and just, you know, at least take a little bit more time to think through it, gather my thoughts, and honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds. We're in such an amazing format. I'm really looking forward to playing this format and continuing on. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you in the next video.